Okay, everybody. Amazing. I love this. The first 3 rows are always dead. I don't know why we even have 3 rows, but good for you. Well done. And I'm just glad that you're not the bachelor students because you would be right at the back and potentially in the hall next door. It's really, really nice to see you. Once again, welcome to the Master of Speech Pathology program. It's a highly competitive course to be getting into, so congratulations. You're already impressive people, and we haven't even started teaching you yet, so can you imagine what you're going to be like in the next couple of years? One of the things that we're really, really proud of is that the Master of Speech Pathology program here at Flinders attracts a number of international students year after year, and usually we have around about 48 to 49% students who are international. And so I'm hoping that I've captured just about everyone. We have representatives from Hong Kong, we have China, India, and quite a considerable number of Canadians this year, which is incredibly exciting. Are there any countries that I have missed off and somehow not represented? Fantastic. Excellent work. So in this session, I've actually got the amazing Anne and the amazing Paige. They are both going to be talking a little bit about the curriculum that we've got. We'll be investigating that. We have Lewis Ridley, who is a representative from Speech Pathology Australia. He's going to come and chat to you a little bit about the membership. But as opposed to the morning session, if you have questions, please just raise your hand and ask them as we go. It's really kind of trying to facilitate things and make sure that you are ready to hit the ground running, because my word, this is going to be an intense couple of years for you guys. Spoilers. Okay, so let's have a bit of a think about how it is that we are going to be successful here in the Master of Speech Pathology program. Like I said, it's the only postgraduate course that is in South Australia, and it's been constructed with an incredible amount of care. What we are going to do within 2 years of full-time is get you through what the bachelors get through in 4 years of full-time, so it is going to be fast. If you are enrolled in the full-time program, these are the subjects that you should be enrolled in. This is the reason why we have the amazing Paige and the amazing Art here to talk through. You can see that these are colour-coded quite deliberately in terms of the streams that you'll be studying as you go through the university program. So you'll see that the green stream is around about theory, it's about professional studies and communication sciences, and we teach that in a couple of different ways, and there's quite a significant theoretical basis to it as well. The yellow is our speech pathology skills stream, and you see that that flows through quite deliberately through each semester that you'll be studying here. This is where you learn about the activities of being a speech pathologist alongside the lectures that complement the theory as well. The lectures are still coming hard and fast, but they're really about those activities, and you're starting to draw what happens with those theories as well. The blue stream, we start right at the beginning and start to end up with in first semester of next year, and that's having a look at research. How do you identify particularly worthy research articles? How do you formulate your own research question as you go? And you'll see split in the middle is sort of like I don't even know what to call that colour. It's kind of salmony, kind of beigey. I don't know. You guys make up your own thing. But it's about interprofessional practice, where as speech pathologists, we work alongside other people who we commonly encounter, and how do we actually provide a holistic service for students. Questions, queries, comments, concerns? Brilliant. If you are part-time, and I've seen that some people have got some really crazy ideas about what part-time kind of looks like. Some people have enrolled in loads, and it's kind of like, well, how can you be part-time and full-time at the same time? This makes no sense. You're three-quarter time. This is the advised pathway that we would like you to take as part-time. You can see in the first year, it concentrates really, really heavily on the theory and a little bit of the research. And then in second year, we concentrate, once you've got all of that theory, in terms of the skills and practice, and your placement starts coming into place in the second year. If you're full-time, your placement starts within a month from now, which is pretty exciting. Then we move back into a little bit more theory in the third year. The interprofessional topic goes in there. We've got skills and practice, a really meaty topic that goes in the second semester. You have the big placement in year 4, and then you finish off with a little bit of research and the final skills, which is our final subject for for both the part-time and the masters, and is ably coordinated by Paige as well. That's where you demonstrate your amazing ability to enter this particular profession. This is the most important part for you. This is exciting. The Master of Speech Pathology program as opposed to the Bachelor of Speech Pathology program, and in actual fact there's only about 4 degrees in this entire university that have a non-graded pass. This is incredibly deliberate. We don't have a graded pass, which is possibly what you're used to in your undergraduate study, where you have a pass, credit, distinction, high distinction, or something along those particular lines. I will die on this hill. I really believe that a non-graded pass is the way to go, particularly when you're studying something like speech pathology. Like most of our speech pathologists, I work clinically. I work clinically on a Saturday. And some of my sessions are fantastic speech pathology sessions. Some of them are high distinction level. I pat myself on the shoulder for just being brilliant. And some of them, whoa, they go absolutely nuts and holes are kicked in walls, etc., etc. But I still pass because I'm actually still competent. But even in my best session, there's always things that I need to be thinking about, clinically reflecting on and improving. So when it comes to you graduating, you will graduate as a competent speech pathologist who will have amazing sessions and sessions where you will learn more, but you have those skills to actually learn a little bit more from, right? When I graduated from speech pathology, I'm sure it's the same for Paige, no one ever asked me what my grade point average actually was. They just wanted to know whether I was eligible for membership of Speech Pathology Australia. Has anybody ever asked apart from research stuff? So really, what that means is a number of the assessments that we do here are must pass, but it is pass. And what will happen as a result of your passing is, regardless of just how brilliant you were, and like we love marking things because we sometimes go, oh my gosh, I see what you've done there. What we will always do, regardless of how brilliant it is give you some feedback in terms of, hey, you could think about this, or you could do this, or something along those lines. If you scrape through with a pass, we'll give you much more feedback and give you bits and pieces. If you're not competent to practice at that particular point, you'll be asked to resubmit one more time. Yeah, it's as simple as that. It's really quite binary. But what that means is, I don't have the conversations with you lot that I sometimes have with the bachelor students, which is like, I can't believe I only got a credit for this. I'm used to getting distinctions and high distinctions. Where have you gone wrong? And that's not a useful conversation. A useful conversation is, what did you really like about this? And where could I improve next? Does that make sense to people? Yeah? Because you're not actually needing to study for postgraduate because you're already in postgraduate. Yeah? So this is really cool. I try not to brag too much about it because there are people up above me who are trying to make absolutely everything a graded topics, but I'm really, really happy to say that for you lot at least, you're still going into a non-graded pass topic. Questions, queries, comments, concerns, please.
We wanted to pursue a PhD in the future. How would that work with the non-graded pass?
Yeah, so a non-graded pass sort of works out to sort of be like the equivalent of a 2A, and actually they look at the GPA from your undergraduate studies as well. You've already got a GPA. If you're here, you're actually worthy enough to be studying a PhD as well. You're already in postgraduate, yeah? So yeah, it's not quite as competitive. So getting into the masters is competitive, really competitive, but there are loads of openings for PhD. The combat sometimes happens with scholarship opportunities and those sorts of things, but people that have that administer scholarship programs, they take into account that this is a non-graded pass. So it's not like you're at the bottom of the pile because of an NGP. That's a really good question. Thank you. Any other questions about non-graded pass? Anne, yeah, please. Yeah, please, Anne.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So regarding PhD admission after the non-graded pass course, so usually in order to be admitted to the PhD program, you need to have certain research experience, and that research experience is magnified. So it will be calculated based on the numbers of research topics that you have done. So things like research methods, which is one of the topics in the curriculum, but also your experiences in research overall, whether you engage in a big thesis in your undergraduate degrees, whether you are collaborating with others, writing papers, and what are your roles and your contributions. So all of that will be calculated according to some sort of point system, and if you meet certain point system, you get admitted to the PhD degrees. And there is another pathway as well for people who don't have research experience, which will be, I think, usually a numbers of years as practicing clinicians. So clinical expertise in a number of years will also get you to be admitted to the degree.
Thank you. Any other questions about the scoring system? Amazing. You will see that some of the rubrics that we use are kind of weighted more towards that particular level, and sometimes students want to know exactly how well they did within that system. So we've left those rubrics in so you can kind of see the equivalent. But if you get a pass or a high distinction according to a rubric, you've still passed. Yeah? Okay. This is really important. And we're really proud of this. The reason why, and you would have seen this in the emails that I've sent out to you in regard to the curriculum, but it's worthwhile having a conversation about it while you're all here. We have what we call a spiral curriculum, which means that instead of that very deliberate, linear, we learn about this, and then this is the next step the next week, and this is the next step the next week, and we continue to build in that slow pattern. What we do is we just go, wah! And we will do just about every area of practice in a week. It can be completely crazy. Like the first week of semester 2, you're doing assessment reports and pediatric dysphagia and some work on voice, and it just goes crazy. And there's a real deliberate reason for that. In order to accelerate you, there are a number of skills that you will learn in one particular area that actually are transferable to another area. So for example, if you have a small child and you are doing a background information, gathering information about how they're developing their language, lots of those skills actually take place in exactly the same way when it comes to an adult in a stroke inpatient unit. So you actually learn those skills as we go. And so as a result, we really focus on a clinical reasoning cycle, which you'll see in your skills topic, which talks about the cycle that we do, and we just approach it from different angles all of the time. Now, this is brilliant. It means we can get you out in 2 years' time, but from your point of view, you will sometimes go to a lecture or get something and sort of go, I don't feel like I know everything about that. And the reason why is that you don't know everything about that yet. But what will happen is you will come back in following semesters, following topics, following years, and it will click into place as you go. And you'll go like, I remember when Paige was talking about this, this makes sense as to what Rachel is now talking about. And I'm getting a little bit more of an information. And our students describe these as being aha moments where all of a sudden you go, I can build on this. Paige will talk to you a little bit about her particular stream and EBLs, and hopefully we'll come back to that sort of thing and about how it kind of works incredibly well. So we will keep coming back to bits and pieces. You will not always be looking at those sorts of things, but it means that by the time you hit this time next year, you'll be able to grab a long placement in just about any area of practice because we've been really, really deliberate in teaching you those skills and competencies that you'll be able to jump in kind of straight away. The bachelor students don't start their placements until their 3rd year, but you will be ready to go by this time next year if you keep up with the demands of this course. However, we've now got different spirals which are taking place. So as you saw from those course maps, the part-time option will focus on theory before it gets anywhere near its first particular placement. So if you are studying this part-time, you'll be learning the theory and you'll be sitting alongside another tute group, and those people will say, oh yeah, we learnt that in that particular lecture, which you haven't necessarily been a part of. This is incredibly deliberate. This is the reason why we were talking about make friends, form a WhatsApp group. You don't have to just do it via Flow, but rely on each other. The part-time students are going to rely a lot on the full-time students to help with bits and pieces. So for example, there might be something in one of Paige's topics which is about writing a report, which the part-time students haven't necessarily had yet. We will rely on the full-time students to help them in that way. Then everything flips on its head the next year We've got people in your position who are entering new, and we've got our part-time students who have done 4 topics already. They will be super expert in able to help them in that particular way. And so what will happen is there'll be a flip-flop where the full-time students will be helping the part-timers, and then the following year the part-timers will be helping the full-timers because they will have had more experience and expertise. Does that make sense to people? Yeah? So that's why it's really important for you to work out precisely who's doing what, which topics are being done. If you're a part-timer, you're a little bit outnumbered, so do out yourself to your full-timer colleagues and ask for help, because next year you're going to be the ones in the driver's seat. Okay. I'd like to introduce you to the faces behind the flow sites that we have here. And I'm going to hand over to Dr. Le to talk a little bit about 9121, if you're happy.
Hi everyone, I'm An and I'm your TC in 9121, which I have already sent out an announcement about the topics. So the topic site is ready for you to access as all other topics in the curriculum. Now 9121 is heavy. It is theoretical. It is very heavy. It contains 3 different, I don't want to say 3 different topics in one. I want to say 3 different content areas. So you've got your anatomy and physiology, you got your research, and then you got linguistics. So that's a lot. It's sort of like all of the theoretical foundational knowledge that you'll need to support all the other topics like EDLs in 9123 and also the skills and practice topics with Tim. Now, so there are 12 weeks of content. So each week there will be a content in anatomy, a content in linguistics, and usually sometimes contents in research stream. Everything has already been designed, so you have your pre-record lectures followed by interactive activities, but we also want to pair them with 12 workshops. Now, ideally, we want to spread out evenly, so 4 in linguistics, 4 in anatomy, 4 in research. So you have a workshop each week on a different sort of streams, but because there are some rescheduling bits about public holidays and stuff, so usually every week you will have a face-to-face workshop, but just not week 2. So that means that you have a face-to-face workshop in 9121 every week. Sometimes it's on anatomy, sometimes on linguistics, sometimes on research, but just not week 2. Meaning that in week 3, you will have 2 face-to-face workshops. Yeah? It's just because of the, ideally we want every week, but it's just because of rescheduling due to public holiday. Okay, so the top tip to be successful in 9121 is to take things slowly. I like to say that this topic is like a marinating topic because you will get bombarded with a lot of contents, but also with the spiral curriculum that Tim had just mentioned, you will also be revisiting these content in your semester 2, in your year 2, and if you're part-time in your year 3 and year 4. So once you get to the content, download everything, it's okay to take things slowly. And my number 1 suggestion would be, let's form a group and say if you want to watch the lecture together, you can come and watch the lecture together. So we study better together as a group. So that's my number 1 tip. Okay? And next week, you're meeting Jane first, who will lead the research stream in this topic. But I also pop down and say hi, and then we do all of the housekeeping when you see me in week 3. Okay? Any questions? Oh, sorry. Any questions, queries, comments? Good to know, Tim. All right.
Thank you for that. Okay, we are now going to pause for a little bit and hear a little bit about Speech Pathology Australia. This is the amazing Lewis Ridley. Lewis is an ex-Masters And I'll put your slides up for you, Lewis, and you just tell me when you want me to.
Awesome. Like Tim said, my name's Lewis, and I've been out for 2 years, which is really cool, working. So soon you guys will be there, which is awesome. I just want to congratulate you all for getting this far and obviously getting into the master's program, which is really awesome. You're going to love it. You're under Tim, Paige, and Arn. They're amazing. So you're in good hands. But yes, so my name is Lewis, and I'm actually the student engagement co-lead amongst other people who are lovely. And basically my role is to help students get engaged, to attend events, learn more about SPA and to progress more in their career, not just within university, more outside as well. And it's actually free for students, the membership now. I don't know if you knew that, Tim. For the whole time studying, you can become a member for free, which is really cool. So basically, we'll go to the next slide. That's okay. So, before I get started, I can acknowledge the acknowledgement of country. So, Speechology Australia acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, seas and waters throughout Australia and pay respects to elders past and present. I'm sure Tim did this before, but the reason why I wanted to do it again was because if we look at the artwork here, it's actually really cool how the Speechology Australia logo is actually in traditional Indigenous artwork, which is really awesome. You can see the hands there, representing different people gathering together. And I think that's what really speech pathology does well, is bring people together, connect people together, and come under a banner that unites Australia together, and that we can advocate for those that need it within the speech pathology community. So awesome. We'll go next one. So there's going to be a lot here. Obviously, it's your first day here, right, guys? Yep. Cool. So there's going to be information overload. So I'll try and keep it as condensed as possible. But basically, Speech Pathology Australia is the national body. So when you become a speech pathologist, generally speaking, you need to be registered within the association, Speech Pathology Australia, to be a clinically practicing speech pathologist. So this is something that you need to do. And because it's free as a student, why wouldn't you, right? And I'll talk about the benefits and what it looks like practically, but throughout the year, I'll come back and touch base what it means. But there's a lot there. So national body, 16,000 members, and they're like your ethical professional guidelines on what it means to be a speech pathologist within Australia, I guess. So we'll go on to the benefits now. So basically, there's a lot there. I'll run through them as quick as I can, but you get access to the International Journal of Speech Pathology, so a plethora of information which you can draw upon. And I'm telling you, as a speech pathologist that's practicing at the moment, I often look up and refer to things that Speech Pathology Australia have produced because it is quite worthwhile. And obviously, this is the place where you upload your professional development. So once you're a speech pathologist, you'll be required to keep updating your, relevant understanding, and this is where speech pathology manage that. Don't worry about it now because you're still a student, which is fine. But the most important thing, networking opportunities. Now, some say placement is the best part of the degree because you get to actually do the thing, which is awesome. Networking is exactly the same thing. I think of it as placement outside of university. You get to go to pubs and cafes and that kind of thing and connect with Tim or myself, Paige, other people, which is awesome. So you can learn more about who they are and what it means to be a speech pathologist. Also, which is really awesome, on a government level, our CEO actually goes to Parliament and advocates for what we want to see. And Tim actually did that himself. He went to Parliament in Canberra, didn't you? I think 3 years ago, maybe or so. Yep. And we can talk about what that looks like on how your voice can be heard in Parliament to advocate for the profession, which is really, really awesome. Next slide. Yep, so on the SPA website, you have access to the Members Hub. We'll touch base on that in more detail, but there's more accessibility and things you can access through the membership. So basically, which I don't take much, I need to do a bit better, but you can get discounted dining, vouchers, movie tickets, subscriptions, Specsavers Plus, many more with being a member. So for me, it's a no-brainer. You guys are a student, you get it for free, and then you get this stuff for free, and then eventually you have to pay for it. So I'd encourage you, there'll be a QR code to take a photo of it and sign up because it's absolutely worth it, which is really cool. You also get access to the advisor team into the professional practice inquiries and kind of that governance side of things, which is cool. So, yeah. So, yes, everyone grab your phone out if you can, if you're able, and take a photo of that QR code and, sign up. Otherwise, just go on Speech Pathology Australia and follow the prompts. You guys are all pretty witty. You're masters. You've navigated a few things before, which is awesome. But, take a photo of it. Do it later. Do it now. Like I said, it's free, so which is awesome. Cool. I think everyone has done that, which is great. We've got the next one. Cool. So this is where, I guess, the advocation comes in. So Speech Pathology Australia, obviously at the national level, we have the National Board President, Catherine McClinley, and her board members. And then the national office has Lynn Brody. So have you guys met Rachel? Has she visited? Yep, you may remember Rachel. She's really lovely. So she's actually our state co-leader for the branch. So she heads up, I guess, South Australia as a whole, all speech pathologists, and then she advocates to the national board. So then you get the national board, and then you've got the state level, and which is Rachel. It's awesome we've got her here at the university, so which is awesome. We also have Paige, and you're the university point of contact. So think of it as like national, state, which is Rachel, and then you've got within the university, Paige, and then I'm the student engagement. So I'm outside the university, so I bridge the universities together to get people engaged. And then we've got the individual members, which is also myself, which will be you guys, just individual members. So there's definitely heaps of lines you can go up if you do want to see what you want to advocate at a national level. But that's kind of how the structure works in a nutshell. Trying to keep it engaging as much as I can, knowing that there's lots of hierarchies, but it's important to know who you can go up to if you need to. Cool. So yeah, each state and territory has a branch. Like I mentioned, Rachel is the co-lead with Tara for the state. And yeah, they provide lots of things for you guys and for the profession as a whole, which is awesome. So volunteers are always welcome. So like if you're like, oh, I've got a spare, day or want to just jump into a meeting or that kind of thing, please reach out to, I guess, Tim, Paige, anyone, and they'll send you in the right direction, which is cool. Great. So how can you be involved? Like I said, student volunteer. There's branch meetings once a month on a Wednesday. Local events, which we'll talk a bit more about later. Speech Pathology Week. Obviously contributions to publications and our national conference, which is really awesome. But before we move on, we're actually every year, I'm pretty sure they're doing it every year, the SPA representatives. Is that right? Yep. So every year there'll be 2 of you within your cohort that will represent the students for SPA. So you actually work alongside myself and you'll help build events, you'll help, I guess, advocate for whatever pops up and really try and get students engaged across the universities. It's a really good opportunity. I myself was a SPA rep in my final year and I got to work with, I guess, everyone here, like Tim, Rachel, just as a student, help build events and help better the profession. So if you're interested in that and you want to work with me and other student reps from other universities, yeah, I'm sure an email will come out, put your hand up and we can work together to, I guess, better the profession and better the university experience, which is awesome. So yeah, I think that's that. Here's the event that's coming up. It's Saturday the 7th of March. I'll be there and so will Rachel. So I'm not sure if you guys will be there, but it's a great opportunity to connect, meet with people. So yeah, take a photo of that if you want to get more engaged. It's going to be really fun. This is what I love. I love connecting with people, learning more. I feel like the conversations you get outside of a lecture seem to really grow your understanding a bit more than just pieces on a page, which is awesome. So yeah, take a photo of the QR code. Otherwise, Speech Pathology Australia, go on the website, go to events, and there'll be a whole list of events you can attend and keep an eye out for this one. It is free for members, and you'll probably get a free drink, free food. If it's at a pub, you'll get a free beer or drink of choice, which is really awesome because there is a budget. We love a good budget, don't we, Tim? Exactly. So, yeah, which is really cool. So hope you guys can attend. I will try and be at as many as I can so you can get to know me and other professionals as well within the organisation, which is cool. Cool. And that's all from me. Do you guys have any questions about that? Like they will come up as you go throughout the course, like registration, professional development logs, like heaps of different things that will arise. But yeah, any questions or comments, queries or concerns? Look at you guys. You love it. Nah, it's awesome. Well, thank you guys. And like I said, it is a spiral curriculum. So if you feel like things have gone over your head so quickly, it will come back. And there is light at the end of the tunnel, speaking from experience, okay? It's good. No, you're in good hands with Tim.
Amazing.
Awesome. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Lewis. You can stay. You can stay if you want to. Yeah, you can stay. You can stay. How much longer? I don't know. All right, we'll move on to Paige. Oops. And do you want to click along, or do you want me to stay here?
I can click, yeah. Hi everyone, thanks for sticking around today. It's a long day, a lot of info coming at you. So just jumping off the back of Lewis, I'm actually going to put you right on the spot right now. Can you put your hand up if you would like to be a SPA rep this year? Yep, cool. What was your name?
Ishani.
Pardon?
Ishani.
Cool, thanks Ishani. And there was someone behind? Yeah, what's your name? Nikki, awesome. All right, I'll be in touch with more information. That's the easiest way to do it. Yeah. So otherwise people forget and you're like, I wanted to do it, but I've got to send an email. Everyone forgets. So cool. Thank you. All right. So I am your topic coordinator for 9123. You might have already jumped onto the topic site, had a little bit of an explore. If you haven't, that's fine. It's up there ready for you to have a look. So as Tim was saying, and Arn was also saying, this is kind of a complementary topic to your skills if you're full-time, but also the theoretical aspects found in Arn's topic. So in 9123, we do this style of learning called inquiry-based learning. You may have also heard of it as problem-based learning. Has anyone done anything like that before in other degrees? Few nods, yep, cool. If you haven't, no worries. What I do have a warning for you is that it's a really different style of learning. So if you haven't done it before, you might find in the first few weeks you're a little bit uncomfortable, you're really unsure as to why we're using this style of learning. But as we've all said, just trust the process. I love EBLs and I love the aha moments and I love facilitating those aha moments as well throughout the journey. Something we're doing a little bit differently this year is next week, we're actually doing it all together. So traditionally in your EBLs, you're going to be in small groups. You'll have a tutor in each room who will guide the process and help you work through different case scenarios. So the case scenarios are based off of real clients. Names changed, a few details changed here and there just to protect confidentiality, but all of the cases we'll be working through together are based off of real clients that some of us have worked with, people in the past that have worked at Flinders have worked with. So just a heads up as well that you know this is really authentic information. What we do is we work systematically through each case over 2 or 3 parts. Most cases have 3 parts. So you'll have one on a Tuesday, the second part on a Friday, and then the third part in the first half of the following Tuesday before you then start your next case. So we work through it as a group, so it's very peer-led. So the tutor will be sitting there, probably quiet some of the time, and you're expected to be engaging in different roles throughout the sessions to help facilitate the learning process. These are expected attendance, so if you're not there, we will be asking why, and we will be encouraging and trying to facilitate your attendance to all of these tutorials, yeah? Because this is a core component of your learning. And if we can get really good at EBLs this semester, it's going to make the rest of the EBLs that, you know, spoiler alert, come every single semester from here on out until you finish this degree. It's going to make them a lot easier to manage and work through more independently as you kind of progress in the course. So what I was starting to say was that next week we're all going to be together in one big room. So on Tuesday we're going to be downstairs in level 4, so just the stairs out here. As you leave, have a look. And I'm going to walk you through the process as a group. So you'll sit in your EBL groups. around the room, and we're going to walk through the first case, matting tat, together. So I can show you what's expected, and everyone's kind of on the same page about what we're doing and why we're doing things. So I'm not going to get too much into EBO as a concept and why we use it, because I'll get into that more on Tuesday with you. And then on Friday, we'll do the same thing. We'll finish off the matting tat case as a big group. And then from week 2, we'll move forward in your individual rooms with your individual tutors. Does that sound okay? Perfect. Any questions so far? All good? Okay, so this is actually a little bit, I was going to replace this. You won't see this yet on your topic site because we've redone this video this year. So there's going to be a short series of videos that I'd really appreciate that you watch before coming in on Tuesday next week. And what they are is basically a little intro, like very generic, kind of across the board, like what is EBL? What are we talking about? What are the cognitive theories that situate, EBL and what they're actually doing for your learning? But also things like what are the different roles that we take on? So when I say roles, you're not needing to do any acting. It's more things like who's going to be taking notes and who's going to be chairing the session and all of those sorts of stuff. But what does that actually look like, and what are your responsibilities as a student in that space? What are the roles of the facilitator, of your tutor? And also things like technology. So how do we responsibly use technology and things like AI in our tutorial sessions to replicate what we might be doing out in the clinic as well? So there's all kind of new flavours coming in as technology changes. I'll go through a lot of this together with you in more detail, but just as a little glance of the different types of roles and responsibilities, we've got our chair, we've got our scribe, we've got our group members, but we've also got some different things like timekeeper, whiteboard scribe, nothing crazy and unexpected. The key thing here is just to know that EBLs not only give you an opportunity to apply your theoretical knowledge to real life cases, it also enables you to develop some of those, what I call soft skills. So things like your leadership, things like your interpersonal and interprofessional communication skills, your teamwork, your ability to reason and think critically and inference and interpret and analyze. So all those things that you're not coming into a session going, here's what I'm doing, I'm communicating with you, and then I'm communicating with you, and I did that really well, and you're not really thinking about that. But just so you know that these roles, and the reason why we expect people to participate in these roles is because it fosters those skills, those underlying skills that are so important to what we do in the clinic. Any questions about any of that? No, all good? Okay. So I'm just going to fly through this again because a lot of this we'll get into on Tuesday. We didn't normally do the whole group thing on Tuesday in the first week. I'm trialling it this year because I think it's just going to be really good. A few more people hopefully will be there on Tuesday as well, so we can capture everyone in that discussion. But you'll hear the term learning issues. I put this as number 1 because it is a priority and it's really important. And it's always something that tends to get a little bit forgotten about by the end of the semester. But I want to start strong with it, and this year, I really want us to be thinking about that learning issue and your responsibility outside of the EBL sessions for your own learning as well. We'll get into that in more detail. You've probably heard about the discussion forums. Discussion forums are big in 9123. Last year, everyone was super engaged and it made for such a rich learning environment outside of our face-to-face contact. So I highly encourage you to ask questions on the discussion forum if you think it's going to benefit other students as well. Personal matters can come directly to me via email. Anything else? Probably the key thing here is the big assessment of professional behaviour. So wrapped around EBL is an assessment, which is why we expect people to be there. If you're not attending EBLs, we can't mark this assessment. And so therefore, you're probably going to have to resit EBLs, which means resitting the whole topic. I'm sure you don't want to do that. So there is an assessment wrapped around, and the assessment does look at these professional behaviours and skills, your communication, your involvement, your contributions. How are you reforming ideas? Are you identifying things, or are you going a bit deeper and hypothesizing and starting to come up and link information and identify relationships? So we're looking at all of these, and the tutors, the people in in the room with you will be looking for all of these different behaviours as you progress. You're not expected to have them in the first session. This is a very staged assessment, so we touch points at different times of the semester as well. And then we have a self-evaluation as well. This is not a marked assessment, but I think it's a really nice opportunity for you to start building those reflective capacities. So every week going, what have I learned? What am I feeling really comfortable with? But now, what do I need to dive into a bit deeper? What's something I haven't quite wrapped my head around yet? Okay, so yes, week 1, change of location. Just a reminder, more to myself to tell you, but so you can visualise, there will be not in our normal, so you might see on the timetable, you've got your group that you've enrolled in a class. Yep, we'll all be in level 4 seminar. So just come in as you did today, but go down the stairs just out here. And I'll be hanging around anyway for you. Are there any questions about that? Sound okay? The other key thing I need to remind you of is you will have enrolled in a class, but I'm really mean and I shake them all up. So the class that you enrolled in may not be the group that I've allocated you to. What I have done is kept the times the same. As it was a little bit confusing because some people were enrolled across both time slots, so I just need to check in with some people. But I've allocated you to the same time slot, so if you're starting at 11, you're still starting at 11. If you're starting at 2, you're still starting at 2. Don't stress about that. But your group number might be different to the class you've enrolled in. Yeah, just because I try and get an equal number of domestic, international students in each group, I try and mix up, I'll be mixing up the part-time and the full-timers a little bit, just to get a bit more of an even spread of perspective, diversity across the different groups, which I've found has worked really well in the past. When I do publish those groups, which will hopefully be today, have a look. If there's any issues with where I've put you, just email me and we can have a chat. If it's more like I don't want to be in that group because I don't like the number or whatever, maybe don't email me because I probably will be like, oh, okay. Yes, unless you have just like a big phobia of the number 3 or something. But yeah, that's how it's going to roll. Any questions about any of that? Is that yes? Offer anatomy, yes. Is that every week,
The
3 weeks, okay. Yes. On a Friday. Okay. So you'll notice when you enrolled, you had the option of going 11 or 2. Everyone knows that, hopefully. If you know, anyway, you've enrolled in a class, hopefully. So what's happening this year is because we have the part-time, our enrolment number has grown, so we can have up to 80 in the course with some full-time, some part-time. So it's meant that we've gone from 5 groups at one time slot to 8 groups across 2 time slots. So 4 starting at 11, 4 starting at 2. For Arne's topic, there'll be 3 anatomy workshops, which will be held just here around the corner in the Anatomy Museum. And so because it's held in the Anatomy Museum, we've had to do a bit of shuffling in terms of the time slots. So what's going to happen is it'll work in a similar manner where you'll have a staggered start. So those people that start the EBLs at 11, am I getting this right? I can see Arne's freaking out a little bit. Maybe.
So there are 4 anatomy workshops, but the 3 that are all on Fridays, you will have to shuffle with 9123. EBLs. So if you're enrolling from 9, you're enrolling the class from 11 to 2 in EBL 9123, you have to attend the Anatomy Museum workshop from 8 to 12. From 8 to 10, sorry. Just 2 hours. So 8 to 10 in 9121 Anatomy workshop, and then you wait for an hour and then you head to EBLs from 11 to 2. Does that make sense? And the people that are enrolling in 9123 EBLs from 2 to 5 will be attending the anatomy workshop from 10 to 12. Does that make sense? Because if you do it the other way around, you will miss your EBLs.
Yeah, does that can be written somewhere? It will be written.
It will be written in an announcement.
Everything's written.
It'll be an announcement or on your timetable or what have you, yes. You're not expected to remember it. But just to flag it for you, yeah. So one day you'll go, oh, he said something, but I can't remember what, and you'll go looking for it. Cool. I'm trying to just make sure I've thought of everything. Spiral curriculum, I guess, is that EBO is very introductory. So week 1, we're going to start with child development. We're going to look at attachment theories. We're going to look at social determinants of health. And by the end of it, we're going to be looking at how cleft lip and palate interrupts voicing, speech sounds, and potentially language down the track, depending on how severe the hearing loss is. So there's going to be a huge breadth. We're going to go into swallowing. We're going to go into pediatric voice. We're going to go into all the topics, but it's going to be a very surface level, okay? So you're not going to be expected to know, exactly how to conduct therapy with, a 15-year-old child with developmental language disorder, yeah? But you might know what developmental language disorder is. You might know the types of assessments we could use. You might know the general clinical process, yeah? So we're skimming the surface. We're integrating things from Arne's topic, the theory, and we're applying it to the cases. You'll also have lectures in my topic as well, which you'll integrate into the EBLs. And then those doing the clinical skills as well in the full-time course, you'll be able to bring some of that across as well. Yeah, I think that's everything. And then you'll come back to a lot of the topics in greater depth as well as you go through. So don't stress, it's just a skim. We'll push you, we'll challenge you, we'll get you to think hard about things and dive deep as much as you can, but when you're not expected to be, ready to enter by the end of this topic. So just keep that in mind as well. If you're like, oh, I don't know enough, it's okay. You don't need to as yet. Yeah? Cool. I think that's all. Any questions for me at all? Sounding okay? Awesome. So I'll see you all on Tuesday. I'm getting my wisdom teeth out tomorrow. So I'm sorry if I sound a little bit distorted next Tuesday, but I'm going to be here and we'll go through the first workshop tomorrow, next Tuesday. Oh my gosh. All right. It's so good to see you all. And yeah, if you have any questions, send me an email. That's all.
Perfect.
I'll keep talking forever otherwise.
And then the last 2 topics, if you're part-time, you can sort of zone out from this particular point. See you later. The last 2 topics are having a look at speech pathology skills and speech pathology practice. So the skills topic itself, if Arne's topic 9121 is about that hard theory behind research, linguistics and anatomy, the skills really are looking at speech pathology practice and how it is that we do things. All of the lectures for this particular topic are recorded online, so you can watch them whenever, wherever it is that you are. If you're doing meal preparation, pop it on and you can listen to it as it sort of goes. Whenever you watch it, these will be released in a slow release as we go, hopefully 2 weeks ahead of when you absolutely have to have watched it by. I've set up my flow topic site so that you can tick the lecture once you've seen it, so you know exactly where it is that you've actually been, and you'll be able to watch all of those things. As soon as you've watched it, if you've got any questions, the discussion forum is the place to be going, because your questions will be the same as everybody else's questions. And for some reason, you tend to like to post things at 1:30 in the middle of the night. I don't know why, but that's great. If that's the actual question time that you've got it, zap it in there. Whenever something is placed on the forum, we will get back to you within 2 business days, even if it is just to say, I've read your question, but I need some time to think about it. As Catherine was saying, the skills are accompanied by workshops. These are should attend events. These are the events in which you will be given activities and you had better be prepared for them, because there will be no expectation, there'll be no allowance for people rocking up not prepared for it. We'll get straight into the activities as we go. And this is where you go hands-on, working alongside your peers to actually practice these particular skills. How do you do a speech assessment and score it? How do you do a language assessment and score it? What's the difference between speech and language? I ain't going to go through it, because you've already seen it within the actual lecture. It's the how-tos, and you'll be able to go through those sorts of things. I do understand that life happens. You absolutely must go to the EBLs, because the assessments are attached to your participation within it. You won't necessarily fail anything with a workshop, but it's a little bit like the difference between watching tennis and playing tennis. Watching tennis, you don't really get all of the fun that's actually you involved and actually scoring as you sort of go through. So that's it for skills. Practice is where we really hit the ground running with real live people. Now, the practice topic for semester 1 is exactly the same for everybody. You will be going into a childcare centre with a very, very cool placement educator, Lewis is one of those very, very cool placement educators, right? So there are a number of childcare centres throughout Adelaide. I will try and match you close to where you are geographically or within sort of like public transport of about an hour or so, but I can't promise that. This is the only time that we guarantee that as well because the placements change from practice 2 onwards. But I'm going to try and match you. If you have to catch public transport, it's a great idea just to reach out to me and let me know about those sorts of things. I'm going to start doing that at the beginning of next week, so you've got time to be thinking about that. So you'll go into a childcare centre and you will be taking all of the things that you have learnt from Paige's topic, from Arne's topic, from the skills topic, and having a bit of a go with children. There is a 3-hour workshop that I really encourage you to attend. That will be happening on Friday next week. It's really early, 8 o'clock, but we're going to go through all of that in that particular place there, and we'll go through it in sort of detail. So I won't bother you with that particular thing here, but I will talk to you a little bit about placements. Within SPTH 9130, there are 2 preparatory workshops. One of them is the one that I was just talking about, the introduction to childcare. The second one is about the tool that we use to assess our competencies and growing competencies with a tool called the Compass. I won't talk about it there, but we really do think that you should come to those because that's going to set you up for success within practice. There'll be another workshop a little bit later on, which is about clinical reflection. We'll worry about that when we get there. Catherine was saying a little bit before when we were getting a little bit serious about bits and pieces, and I'm going to say it here as well. So our placements can take place at any particular time within the year. When you are offered a placement, it's not a would you like to do your placement, it is a you are doing this particular placement. Now, I know that as Master of Speech Pathology, a number of people have come internationally and you would quite like to go home during your semester time. This makes complete sense to me. I ask that you pay very, very close attention to these particular dates. So our placements can take place until the 18th of December this particular year. The reason being is that the school term goes right up until the end of December, and because our placements are authentic, you might be working within the Department for Education alongside. What I can guarantee for you though is that you will not necessarily have to take a placement during January unless we reach out to you. However, the school term for 2027 starts on the 27th of January, the day after Australia Day. You must be back in the country and willing to work at that particular time. I will say it again, time and time again, but if somebody says to me, I'm overseas and I'm not getting back until February and we have assigned you that placement, then you run a real risk of needing to withdraw from that topic or incurring the fee. Another placement will not be provided for you. That's me being really strict and strong, but I'm just trying to let you know ahead of time, these are the expectations that are placed on you. You may, if you are a domestic student, be offered a rural placement, so outside of Adelaide. If you are an international student, you will not be offered a rural placement unless you specifically ask for it. The reason being is that international students need to stay close to the International Student Services hub at times. It might be that you're feeling independent, and so you will actually go in that particular thing. There are exemptions. People do have small families. Encourage you to have a bit of a look at the exemption site, and you can apply for an exemption. Our rural placements in the master's program and bachelor program are actually getting smaller and smaller due to the fact that, as Joe was saying earlier today, we have a Bachelor of Allied Health in Speech Pathology based in Port Pirie, Redmark and Mount Gambier, and they are tending to take those rural placements, but I need to let you know that there could be one. We also have placements in Katherine in the Northern Territory. Katherine, not the city, but Katherine the person, takes people to Thailand for an international placement, and that's an opportunity. You won't be assigned to that because there are particular costs about that, but there is an opportunity for you to go to Thailand and do a placement there as well. So our placements are just about everywhere, and we rely on the kindness of the profession to be offering placements, and they are really authentic placements with real speech pathologists. Any questions, queries, comments, or concerns about this slide? Please.
I know in the master's program it says you'll be offered there's a mandatory rural placement in the last year. So are you saying international
exempt from that. Exempt from that. Please.
How much time in advance are you given notice of your placement?
Yeah, not lots. Not lots. And the reason for that, and I will take the curtain away, is that quite often speech pathologists move from one job to another, or we take family leave, or something like that actually happens, and we also need to lock in a contract with our providers. So as a result, sometimes it's as little as 2 weeks. Yeah? And sometimes things fall apart. Like sometimes we actually say, hey, you're going to be working at this particular place, and then that person gets like an amazing promotion and there's just no one behind that person. And so as a result, we try not to actually say things because more often than not, it actually does change. And so we don't want to get you all geared up and go, hey, you're working in a hospital with adults, and you do all of your study and your adult dysphagia topics. Then you go, oh, I'm working in a preschool. You know, like we don't want that to kind of happen as well. So we will try and give you, once it's locked in, we'll give you as much notice as we can, but it is not necessarily much notice. For those people that will be starting on the 27th of January, they tend to get a lot more notice because nothing has actually happened within that particular point. So they tend to sort of know in December, but don't quote me on that. It's not an absolute science. Great question. Any other questions? Please.
I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but on the My Calendar part, it says that our placements start next week.
They don't start next week. They don't start next week. Yeah. So the placement for what I wanted to do is I just wanted to rule out Wednesday and Thursday. That means that no one can put in lectures in those particular places. They're my days, right? So I put them in at that particular. If you want to get into the nitty-gritty, and I may have lied a little bit to you guys about the whole clearancey thing, what I do want you to do is have your clearances in place as soon as possible. For this particular placement, we actually have 2 blocks. So one of them starts on the 18th of March, if that's Wednesday, and it will be either a Wednesday or a Thursday, and you will go to the childcare in that particular point. It goes for 6 weeks. Then we have a break for a week, and then the next block starts actually at the beginning of May. So it might be that you don't do your placement until May. The reason for that is a couple of different things. One of them is, I just don't have enough placements, but the other one is, for international students, it's really hard to get your clearances until you've actually arrived within the country. And we used to start a little bit later than sort of that March time, but it was still really stressful for international students to actually get all of that sort of thing. And so as a result, what we wanted you to do was get your clearances as soon as possible. It's great to start in March because guess what happens towards the end of the semester? Loads of exams and loads of assignments. So it's nice to get it out of the way. However, it's also nice to start it in May because you've done arms topic, page topic, and you walk into a childcare, you're like, I know what a speech pathologist is in a childcare. So there are advantages in both particular ways. You will be assigned to either March or May. If you have your clearances in place, you'll be assigned to March, more likely to sort of get that out of the way. So there is some advantages in terms of getting your clearances in that particular thing to get your placement happening. But if you do want to start a little bit later, it's easier to start it later than it is to start it earlier. But I really wanted to get as many people, particularly domestic students, who already had an opportunity to start applying for their placements at that particular time. I'm aware of how quickly I'm talking. Is that okay? Sorry. Any other questions about placements? Please, at the back.
Just to clarify, the first one starts on the 18th of March.
Yes, or the 19th, depending on whether it's Wednesday or Thursday.
And that's only a couple of weeks away, isn't it?
That's right. That's fun. Yeah? I mean, like, I told you it was intense. I wasn't lying, people. Please. One day a week. It'll be the Wednesday or the Thursday. Yeah? Placements change though. Roster 2 might be different. It might be 2 days a week. It might be 1 day a week for longer. It's all very much dependent on who our placement educator is and how they think the biggest bang for buck is for speech pathology. But yes, I could definitely only talk about this semester. It'll be 6 days within the childcare centre, consecutive, either starting in March or starting in May. Haven't even got to a point where I'm assigning people. I'm a little bit like Paige. Paige is a bit further ahead. If she gets that stuff out for the EBLs today, I might do it by the end of next week. We'll see what happens. Any other questions about placements? Please.
I have a question. So we need a mask or something?
You won't need a mask for childcare, but you will need a mask for some placements. So particularly in terms of hospitals. And actually there's something that we do. We'll get in contact with you to get your actual mask fit, and it will happen at a time when we need you to actually do it. It'll be really weird for you to go get your mask fit and then not wear a mask in the childcare centre, but that won't be happening yet.
Because I got an email about that.
Oh great, well then go get it. It'll be fun. It'll be a day out. Enjoy that. Let us know how it goes. I hear it's fun. Any other questions? Yes, please.
Just on a fit mask note.
Oh my gosh. Yes?
Just expiry date. I just had mine in September. Is it 1 year here as well, expiry date? Or will this
You know how I keep talking about someone called Susan?
okay.
Yeah, that's a Susan thing. Yeah, amazing. I'm really good at being a speech pathologist. I'm not really good at clearances, but I'm brilliant at being a speech pathologist.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Fantastic. There is a lot of concern. There's a lot of anxiety about placements, and that's really, really understandable. But the one thing that I will say, mostly because Lewis is in the room, is that our placement educators are really, really experienced and expert, and they will help you within that particular thing. Within this placement, and we will discuss this on Friday, it really is just a time for you to try and interact and put that overlay of communication. It's a lot of fun. Oh, okay. Top secret. You are here and you are being assessed. What you have paid for or will be paying for if you've got a HEX debt that's sort of accruing, what you are paying for is for the privilege of being assessed to become a speech pathologist. You're not actually paying for a speech pathology degree. That is up for you. If you put the time and effort and work into this particular degree, you will do incredibly well. However much effort and energy you put into, we will match in terms of a staff, and I can guarantee that because I know everybody that's actually on staff. So this slide, possibly more for the Bachelor of Speech Pathology, but I'll deny that I said it out loud. If you don't watch the lectures, if you don't attend the workshops, if you don't really engage terribly much in the EBLs, then you're possibly not going to get the value for money that you kind of want. So what we will do is we will put readings on the side. We'll let you know if they're mandatory readings or just kind of nice to have readings, you know, because there's so much that you can sort of absorb within this particular degree. It's a little bit like a gym membership. You can buy a gym membership, but you ain't going to be buff if you don't go, right? And the more times you go to the gym, the more benefits you're going to feel from that exercise that's taking place. You can buy a video game, you can go all the way through it without doing any of the side quests, but you don't get that richness, which is actually kind of taking place. So it's kind of important that you really invest time. We understand that there is life, but it is intense, but the more effort and energy you put into it, the easier you're actually going to find it. Anything that you guys have to add about that, do you reckon?
No, the 2 years will go so fast. So it feels like a long slog ahead of you. But you know, like the first years from last year, who I got to know really well, and now starting second year, and then they're done. You know, so it does really. And I did bachelor, so I did 4 years, and that flew by. So I can only imagine for the masters. So yeah, just make the most of it. Enjoy the time, and don't be afraid to reach out to us if anything happens. As Tim said, life happens. We're humans too, so you know we take on a really supportive approach and want to be welcoming and then help you as much as we can. But we can only do that if you meet us halfway. So that's really the only advice.
Precisely. Yeah, precisely. Thanks, Paige. Okay, so well done, Paige, for getting the SPA representative in time. Amazing work. I love what you did there. There's another role that I would actually like to gain from you guys here today, and that is the course representative. The people who are course representatives represent the course, which means that actually if there's anything that's going on, if there's a particular assignment that hasn't necessarily been explained well, or there's some concerns that are coming from the cohort, 2 people from each year level meet with me and then 2 members from the second year masters. It's a lot of fun. We've actually made some really significant improvements. It was because of that group that the part-time option for this year actually happened, because there was student voice that was actually taking place. There is training that's given to course representatives, and it's something that happens with each particular degree. And I'm wondering if 2 of you would like to become course representatives. I feel that Paige has stolen it, though. You can put your hands up slowly if you like. Perfect. I'm going to grab your name in just a minute. Great. I'm going to grab your name in just a minute. And did I see anybody else? Great. Cool. I'll take you. Oh, sorry. Yes, please. Saman? Yes. Yeah, brilliant. Cool. We'll grab you too. That was easy. Bosh. Done. Love that for us.
And just just with that as well, like you represent the cohort, but if you have feedback about assignments, the flow of information, how page that's the kind of information to share with these guys. And assignments, in 9123, one of them's changed this year because of the feedback I got last year. So we're really willing to make changes if you find something and you have an idea.
Yeah.
Do share it.
Yeah. So I suppose if you've got questions about your own progress, absolutely put that on the discussion forum. If you've got concerns about how it could be better quality or something like that, exactly. Thank you for reminding me. We completely changed an assessment task this year, and the second year master's students hate you for the fact that your assessment is actually going to be much better.
I hope you're not like the opposite.
Well, that's it. Maybe you hate that. So we'll see what happens.
Changed it.
And the course red also helped you reduce 2 lectures out of the 24 lectures that you had up to.
Yeah, actually, yeah. They've done a lot, actually. There's a lot riding on you guys. Okay, good. Good to know. Okay. These are sort of messages from previous people who've been in this particular course. And the most important thing is, hooray, you will survive unless you fall prey of a snake or something along those lines. But stay on the path and you will survive. Pace yourself. You can do this. Take one step at a time. Make sure that you are enjoying yourself. And the reason why we had this orientation day is to not only tell you about the curriculum, but also in the beginning to link you with people like Mel, people like the enrolment services. There are a whole bunch of people out here to make this successful, and all of the academics that stood in front of you. I mean, chill out is probably the best sort of message that we've sort of got from other graduates. Okay, before we go, are there any questions, queries, comments or concerns about anything that's been happened? Please, at the back.
Are all the tutorial rooms around this area?
No, great question. So we have some that are actually here, and then as you're leaving today, as you go through the Tunnel of Doom, you'll see that there's a health sciences building right ahead of you, and a number of the lectures are held within there as well. Particularly for the masters, I think a lot of our stuff is actually held in that building there. It's beautiful. It's got like a whole wall of window, and you can actually see the entire city. So it's a really nice place.
On the calendar?
It'll come up on the calendar. Yep, the location of absolutely everything comes up on your timetable.
Yeah, and like the codes wise, FMC looks like here, HSLTC is Health Sciences Lecture Theatre Complex, so that's up the hill. And then you'll see like 5E, which means level 5 east, so we're generally only level 5 east, so this area, or level 4 seminar, which is 4E something, so that's just downstairs. So yeah, as this little pocket here and down towards the library, med library, which you'll come across eventually, that's kind of where we stay if we're out.
Absolutely.
So next week's will start, that'll be on the calendar, so we know.
Yeah. If you click on the little square, it will come up with like U_FMC_ blah blah blah. Yeah, that will be kind of confusing, but If you get lost, just send us an email or something. Or that's why it's good to create a chat with maybe at least 1 or 2 other people, so you can let them know we can find you.
Yeah. We haven't lost anyone yet. We've had some people a bit late for lectures in week 1, but we get there in the end. Amazing. Any other questions? Please.
I don't remember where I read it. Are there some placements paid?
No. Gee, I don't even know how to answer that. I could make it a longer word. No, but like no.
There are other degrees that just part something for, I think, social work and teaching maybe, but not speech.
Sorry, I just
No.
have a question. When I looked at my timetable, nothing seemed to overlap, and in the calendar, nothing seemed to overlap. But if I kept scrolling until week 6 or 7, I think 2 of the subjects clash a bit. One starts before the other one.
Yeah.
Is that
Now I'm wondering if that's a Page and Arn thing, where you'll do a class and then you'll do the other class. So yes. You won't be in 2 different places at the same time. We try very hard not to disrupt the laws of physics. So you will do one of those classes, then the other, or it might be swapped, just depending on where it's really where you've enrolled for Page. So if you're 11 to 1, then you're going to do the afternoon. If it's that one, then you're going to be doing the earlier one for the anatomy. Yeah, no, we've, oh,
Concerned as well, just send me a screenshot of it, and I can try and figure it out.
yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. And there's no just a question. Questions are brilliant. Thank you. Because it is really, really confusing. There's just so many moving puzzle pieces that we get confused as well. So please don't. Anything else? Yes, please.
This is a Canadian-specific question, I guess, but I know for some of our governing boards, we require about 300 hours of audiology placements.
Yeah, right.
Something we coordinate with you guys?
No, you're going to be qualified to be eligible for Speech Pathology Australia. And so what you'll need to do is you'll need to be in contact with your particular province in Canada around bits and pieces. We'll talk to you, amazing, because there's like 6 of you. I love that for us. Like Canada is like represented here, which is great. And I've actually talked to Castle Poe around this particular issue. I've got it all in hand. What happens is they will take your undergraduate study from before. You will want to be keeping a logbook now of absolutely everything that you are doing. Madison, who is a second-year master's student, is the only Canadian from last year, and she's well on top of it. And if you reach out to her, she'll talk to you about the things that she's been doing. When it comes to this particular degree, it is a speech pathology degree. We work alongside audiology. We have some lectures that are given from audiology, but you are going to come a bit short when it comes to the logbook, which means that when you return to Canada, you'll need to submit, and they'll tell you the sorts of bridging courses that you'll need to do to become an amazing Canadian speech pathologist. Yes, you'll be getting a brilliant degree, but there'll be some bridging things because Castle Poe has particular requirements which take place. So the main difference, because now you've got me on a nerdy thing, right? So the main difference is that in Australia we talk about competency, which means that you start from where you are now as a novice and you work your way through until you're sort of entry level. Canada is kind of like you need to have 800 hours, which makes me think that if I stop at 799 hours and 50 minutes, I'm still not qualified, which I kind of like. That's kind of really perverse, like that last 10 minutes is really, really important. I love that. Whereas I think that here it's just kind of like, yeah, you got it. It's kind of like more. But Canada is really, really specific about that because they actually do want to put their hand on their heart and say everybody that's a member has this many hours at least. So I do kind of understand that, if that makes sense. But yeah, if you keep a logbook, you won't have exactly the same. You're in exactly the right university because we have more placement hours than any other university in Australia, I think. So you're actually more, you're like your other Canadians that went to other universities, you can point and laugh at them. But yeah, when it comes to it, you'll be collecting that, and we've got student enrollments that will help you out with that. Any other questions? Yes, please.
How many are in the masters? Like, what's the total number?
It depends a little bit, right? Because we might have ticked off some people today and we might lose some. So it all depends. It's a bit of a moving feast until we hit that sort of census date. What we have done, what we traditionally have is about 45 students that we start with. It depends on how we go. That might get a little bit less. But the other thing that we've done is we've opened it up for part-time students, but I had to knock on a few doors last year and it only opened in December. So while we've got 30 places for part-time, I don't think we've got terribly many part-timers, which is great because we can actually work our way through. So we're thinking it's somewhere around the 55, 56 mark at the moment, but that could change. Yeah, cool. Great question. Yeah, again, I feel like I can't give specific answers to you guys. I'm sorry. Please. It will. It will. It will be in Adelaide. It will definitely, 100% be in Adelaide for international students. Yeah. For domestic students, there may be some rural stuff, but for international students, it's no, Adelaide. Yeah. Please.
For our weekly calendar, I think it's a little confusing for me.
Okay.
Because I just want to make sure, should we just check it? Is that enough for us to check it, or to have our weekly plan?
Yeah, do you know what? That is the most genius question because I've been thinking that I needed to have a slide about this and it's like the most important slide and I forgot to put it in. So as students, please check your emails every single day, because things change, right? And check your flow sites when? Every single day, at least once, right? Because sometimes things happen. specifically the announcements, yeah? And what will happen is with all of your topics, there's a little button down the bottom that says announcements. And so sometimes something will happen, like occupational therapist students get, princessy, and so we have to move or something along those particular lines, right? And let them, they're OTs. But if we have an announcement, we'll just put that out to you. So just make sure that you do check it absolutely every single day. And maybe not Saturday, but potentially Sunday night, just in case something big happens over the weekend. If that's okay, we'd really like you to do that.
And a few of us put, like on 923, I'll put an announcement out the week before for what's happening the following week and whether you should attend or not attend. Because you'll find this year what's happened is we've removed all the lectures from the timetable, so it probably looks a little bit sparse. So don't be shocked when you actually go into the topic site, oh, you've got like 3 lectures to watch. It's because we had to timetabling ask us. Anything not face-to-face was removed from the timetable.
Yeah.
So I'll do an update every week. This lecture's online for you now. These are EDLs. This is, any changes will be in those kind of announcements as well.
Yeah.
Timetable are just for face-to-face.
The timetable is just the face-to-face session. So what you see when you log into your calendar, your timetable will just be the face-to-face, so workshops and tutorials, and any lectures that are face-to-face. So like the EMT one coming up in semester 2 will be face-to-face. But then you will also find content on your topic sites that maybe isn't in your calendar, but that you'll be expected to watch in your own time.
Yeah.
In the little gaps
Yeah.
that you have.
Yeah.
So the same is for 9131. So I'll also, you have a look at the topic book, down the appendices. So those are the scheduled delivery for the 12 face-to-face workshops. But yeah, everything in your timetable will be face-to-face. I'll also make a similar document to page telling you which one is going to happen. But it's basically identical to the
But for online content, just goes to yellow.
Pardon?
If we want to watch our online sessions, we're gonna use
You can watch it whenever you like. If you want to watch it at 2 o'clock in the morning, if you want to have a hot chocolate marshmallow fun onesie session looking at information gathering, you go for it, right? You just watch it whenever you like.
On Flow, you go into the topic site, and then each of us will have a different topic site that will come up. Or they'll be, if they're not there, it means we haven't published them yet. It means you don't have to watch it yet.
Yeah. So for the skills stuff, for example, talking about my topic, you've got no lectures in skills for week 1, but you've got 3 lectures. They're already online. You can watch them now if you want to. Like you can watch them on the way to the car park. Do what you want. You do you, right? You can watch them whenever. But they'll be released on a slow release, and you'll have at least 2 weeks to be able to watch them before you really need them. Yeah? So yeah. Please.
I know this is very subjective, but maybe you have some insight. What's realistic in terms of how much time you recommend really dedicating to outside of the practical sessions here?
Yeah.
What's realistic in terms of finding part-time work? Maybe you have a family, maybe you can give more insight to that.
That's a really, really good question. If you actually have a look at the handbook itself, so that's online, if you just Google Flinders Handbook, go to the master's site, then look at the actual subjects, you'll actually see that there's a recommended amount of hours, because we can't sort of like go, hey, here's all the lectures in the entire world and just have a 4.5 unit topic. So there's real guidelines around that. Some of them will actually have included independent study of say 4 hours a week that we actually recommend that actually goes through. Some of them will just be the lectures because you're just actually watching the lecture in that particular time. But it's usually around, I can't think off the top of my head, it's around 200 odd hours per topic, but I could be wrong. 125. There you go. Thanks, Ard. This is what happens when you have a scientist.
Per semester.
Yeah. Per topic, per semester.
So yeah, the thing with lectures is they're actually inbuilt into the unit. So you'll notice that like 4.5 units means we can give you this number of lectures and this number of workshops and this number of tutorials. So even though the lectures don't appear in your timetable, you've got to imagine that they're in the timetable. That makes sense, because they were in the timetable last year. So they're not kind of additional things, they're actually like expected and inbuilt against the units, and then any additional study is kind of guided in each handbook depending on how many things.
And be careful because we'll trick you. A good example is the clinical placement, so the placement topic. You'll be like, oh, I've got 6 days worth. How come in the handbook it's 10 days? Well, the reason why is that you'll need those extra 4 days in order to prepare session plans or write reports or do something along those lines. So exactly as Paige is saying, that's an example about how all the hours are really kind of inbuilt within. Of course, you know, if you want to do more, you absolutely can. If you want to try and do like the shortcut and do the less version, well, good luck to you, because you're still got to pass the same assessments. So it's really, it's up to you. You invest in the amount of time. Cool. Any other questions, queries, comments, or concerns? These are good questions. You're better than last year already. I like you. You're my favourite ones. Please.
Just going on the placements with the Northern Territory ones, is that something that you get often, or do you apply?
You actually apply for that. And Claire, who was here right at the beginning of the placement educator coordinator, she's the person that puts that out to people. So if you're interested in doing it, yeah, absolutely. We will offer you a placement within South Australia, but you will actually say, I'd like to go to Catherine, I'd like to go to Thailand. We won't, you know, force you to be like making a passport or something along those particular lines.
Yeah, and those ones you get a bit more time.
Yeah.
For compliance. To get your flight organised. Sort combination. So I went to Catherine for my 4th roster placement in Northern Territory. So yeah, happy to chat to anyone interested in that next year and things. But really worthwhile experience. But yeah, you do get some more time.
Okay. Any other questions? Again, welcome. This was information overload, but get used to it. It's information overload for the next 2 years, I reckon. But, you know, you'll enjoy it. We're really, really happy to have you here. Enjoy the rest of O Week. Get involved on campus. We'll see you for week 1. Thank you. I'm not letting you get away before I get your name. Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. Can I just get you to write your name
Yes.
there for me? That would be amazing.
I'm just getting my phone setting up. I will shoot
Great.
you an email and send my phone number.
Perfect. Yeah, that's fine.
So, everybody call me Wendy, but I think
Oh, of course. And you've come from Canada as well. Yes, hooray.
here we go.
We have communicated via email before.
Yes.
Perfect.
Finally.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Sorry, let you go through. Yeah, great. Congratulations. Yeah, great.